Oh, hi there, everybody. Sorry about that. I didn't realize I still had my YouTube set on Central Time, and I'm over here on Mountain Time. I slept through my alarm, which doesn't happen very often, but I was up late, and then we did the show this morning. One sec, which is about 4 o'clock, the time here. It sounds like somebody's pulling in here. Been a really cool campground out here in El Paso, Texas. Oh, it's probably the garbage. That's right. They were taking the garbage out yesterday. But yeah, I was talking to the owner, asking him, if he'd heard about flat Earth and what he thought of flat Earth, stuff like that. And he had definitely heard of it. He had definitely done some research. He was. Give me one sec, folks. I don't know if that's drowning me out or. But the owner he's such a cool guy, a great guy. He, very open-minded, very spiritual. Was struck by lightning actually at one time, and he's just an awesome individual who was very open to the idea that the Earth could be flat. He's very aware of a lot of the things. He's like, there's a lot of stuff that can't be explained, and that the globe model just does not answer these questions. It was just so cool the way that he thinks. He doesn't see, Republican, Democrat, or even male, female. He doesn't see any groups or categories or any separations. He doesn't see, this ethnicity or this ethnicity. All he says he sees now is good and bad. And that's it. He said there's good, or actually not good and bad. There's positive, there's negative, and then there is neutral. And that really resonated with me, being an electricity guy. But we were talking about flat Earth, and he was so open to the idea. I think he actually believes that the Earth is flat, but being the owner of a business like this, you can't go around just telling people willy-nilly, because people come and stay at his park for that's his income. But just an awesome guy, and we had a nice conversation. Well, we talked all day yesterday, but it was just about flat Earth, and I think he is a flat earther for sure. He knew about it. When I asked him about it, he wasn't scared to admit that he isn't for sure that the Earth is a spinning ball, at least, which is a lot. That's saying a lot. And just an amazing individual, seeing nothing but positive, neutral, negative. That's how he looks at the world. And he only wants to be around the positive anymore. And that just, man, it resonated with me. Hey, Weed Man. Welcome. So yeah, if you're ever out here in El Paso, Texas, stop by the Hueco Mountains. That's Hueco, Hueco Mountains climbing shop. I believe that's the last, climbing shop. And small little campground right in the front parking lot. He's got the campground built around the parking lot. It's really cool. A couple electrical hookups out there. And it's only $3 a night. There's a bathroom with a sink and a toilet, and there's a shower you can use. It costs a couple extra bucks to use the shower. They're really conserving their water out here and all that kind of stuff, but just great people out here. It's a climbing community. I guess there's some rocks right down the way, these mountains. I'll be showing you some pictures on them here when I upload those videos of this place. And they're particular to this area on Earth, and I think he said they've been found like maybe 2 other places on Earth only, but they were found here first. It looks like the mountain actually bubbled up out of the ground, like it was all liquid granite at one time that bubbled up and formed these nice round. All the mountains around are all jagged and worn away and all that kind of stuff. And these mountains are a lot harder, and they look like, it's hard to explain. Actually, let's go for a walk. I'll show them to you. You want to go for a walk, Bubba? You want to go potty? Come on, let's go. You can come with me on Hank's walk here. I was going to wait to put this off. Yeah, it's kind of a gloomy day. It's supposed to rain today. That's all right. Even El Paso needs rain too. All the plants and animals out here. Rain is the life bringer, you know. But yeah, when I show you this mountain, I hope it does it justice. The video that or the pictures I'm about, not the pictures or the video, but the actual live stream I'm about to show you. You can see all the mountains around that don't look anything like these one mountains. It's amazing. Let me see. I don't want to go too far and lose my Wi-Fi. But look at these mountains right here. See those? It's almost like they're bubbling, and you can't really see, but all along the bottom right here, there's more. And then you look at all these other mountains, and they are nothing like it. All the way around. All the other, yeah, there's a big smiley face on the side of the building. Very cool place. But that mountain right there, people come from all over the world. Here in about a month, I've been learning all about climbing now. I want to show you some of these plants over here too. Just wild. I'm not sure what kind of plant that is, but look at the way this thing's growing. And then this cool looking cactus over here as well. I actually saw somebody who had a cane made out of this cactus. So cool. But this is a very cool little place. And they say in about a month, it's going to really start filling up here, where everybody down this whole road, it's a big long highway that leads to, that's an actual state park down there. And people come from Belgium and France and Germany and all kinds of climbers from all over the world to climb on those rocks right there, because they are so unique in the way that they were formed and shaped. They're really good climbing rocks. And a lot of people don't do it right now because they like the, come on, Bubba, it's starting to rain. Crazy? You crazy, Bob? But they don't like the heat and the humidity. They like it dry and cool when they're climbing. Safer, they say. But yeah, it's a very cool place. Probably one of my favorite places that I've been actually so far as camping wise. I've stayed at a bunch of state parks. I've stayed at a bunch of national forests where it's free. Very beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Most of the places I stay, I've loved. But it's the atmosphere around here that really sells the place so much. And not just the owner, the El Paso. It's a really interesting, neat place. Very large Hispanic community. And I love the Hispanic community. I myself am Hispanic, 50%, believe it or not. My dad was 100% Mexican. So it's kind of like going over to some of my aunt's house when into the East Chicago neighborhoods where I grew up a little bit, and then I'd go back to visit my aunts, and there's little pockets of Hispanic neighborhoods, or at least there used to be back in the day. Haven't been there in a long time, but it's kind of like going home. It stoned me. It really did. But El Paso is beautiful. High of 71 today, low of 61. I mean, for camping weather, you can't beat that, especially when you have a dog. It's raining right now, and that's okay. I'm in my fort. I don't even call it a tent anymore. It's my fort. But yeah, it's gorgeous out here, folks. I love it. I could live in El Paso if there were more trees. I'm a tree buff. I love my trees and my plants, and there's just not enough out here to not enough friends for me to talk to. We'll put it that way. I love talking to my plants and my animals, and I haven't seen that many animals out here. I've been wanting to see a roadrunner so bad. I sat on the porch over there for I don't know how long yesterday, making hemp hats. Probably 9 hours I sat out there just waiting to see one walk by. But yeah, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I'm sure I'll see one somewhere. I'm going to be heading out tomorrow, going to Arizona. So I'm really excited about that, or at least heading that way. I might spend one more night in New Mexico on the way. We'll see. But there's some beautiful national forests in Arizona. I can't wait to get out there. I hope I have good cell service. May not be doing a whole lot of live if I don't, but I figured out a way to get at least 3G so I can keep uploading videos. But the trip has turned, folks. Not that I was having a bad trip in any way, but it just got a lot better. Once I decided to really Richard, how we doing, man? I've been sending lots of prayers your way. I'm actually really surprised to see you. Good. Yeah, I hope everything's going good out there. I know the weather in your area hasn't been... Well, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else then. My apologies. Oh, no, there was a Richard that was living there in Florida. And, oh, in Vermont. Never mind, I bet it's beautiful. Vermont. I haven't been to Vermont yet. Maybe I'll be heading up there to Vermont next summer for sure. It's not going to be during your winters. I know you guys have some rough winters. Way worse than the ones that I was getting away from there in Indiana. But Vermont has always been a place I wanted to go. I heard it's just gorgeous. And the furthest I've been is Niagara Falls up that way. And I haven't been any further northeast than that. But yeah, I'm hoping to get up there eventually. I'd love to live like a nomad for the rest of my life if I could. I want to find a way to make some real money out here. Oh man. Hey, heating with wood that's a great way. I was actually thinking about getting a canvas fort and getting a little wood burning stove to go in that for when it gets cold. Oh, the rain is coming down now. You guys want to say hi to Hanker Panker? Yeah, you say hi, Bubba? Yeah, give him winks. You're so sweet. Just hanging out on the cot. Yeah, he usually sleeps next to me. Hank does. He's got his bed over there on the ground that if he gets hot, he'll go jump down, which he actually did last night. It stayed pretty warm last night. It only got down to about 61. But this rain, I think, is putting him asleep. But it's gorgeous here, folks. Is that rain? Can you hear it real loud? Is it drowning me out at all? I don't know if I'll start reading if you guys aren't going to be able to hear me. Okay, cool. Awesome. But yeah, I was planning on doing chapters 10 and 11 today in this book, Real Alchemy, a primer of practical alchemy, which actually it gets into rain in this one. Actually, I already read that chapter on Waterworks. It might have even been the very last. No, the last one I did was the Kabbalah, but no, 8 was Return to Fire. If you go back and watch chapter 7, it's called Waterworks, and it talks all about how not just food comes from rain, but everything comes from the rain. And even if it isn't raining, just the dew forming in the morning, when it deliquesces on things. Like when a raindrop is falling through the sky, it's already got everything in it, but it doesn't know what it's going to be yet. And if it hits an animal or falls into water that is drunk by an animal, that rain will then turn into the animal kingdom. And if it hits a rock or some type of mineral, it will become part of the mineral kingdom. And if it falls upon a plant, it becomes part of the vegetable kingdom. And that's part of Hermetic alchemy, how everything happens. And there's a big cycle that happens. Yeah, dew, I love the morning dew. It's pretty dry out here in El Paso, though, which is really cool because my tent doesn't get horribly wet on the inside, which really, I hate standing up and rubbing my head against a wet tent. It kind of, a little bit annoying. But it is what it is. So I guess without any further ado, we're going to jump right into it. Chapter 10 is real short. It's just a couple pages. It's just an introduction to the mineral and metalworks. Now we've already gone over the herbals. We've already gone over the different types of fire. It's an amazing book, folks. I bought it 4 times now. I've let people borrow it and didn't get it back, and it's one of those books that every time I read it, I learn something new. So it's one of those that until I quit learning from it and have it pretty much memorized, which doesn't even matter if you have it, you think you learned it all from something, you can learn something somewhere else, come back and read a book, and it'll mean something totally different. It's amazing when you pay attention and want to learn what you can absorb and then apply to things that you thought you already knew. I'll read the foreword like I do many of the times in many of the videos, by Dennis William Hawke. A lot of neat little pictures in this book too. The book was written by Robert Allen Bartlett, by the way, Real Alchemy, a primer of practical alchemy. Okay, now the foreword is written by one of his friends and colleagues. So here you go. The book before you is an amazing accomplishment in many ways. My friend and fellow alchemist, Robert Allen Bartlett, has laid bare the secret processes and experiments of our discipline with exceptional clarity and openness. He has exposed the hermetic origins of alchemy and shown how modern alchemists approach the ancient art. But first and foremost, his book is a revelation of the genuine craft of alchemy as it was meant to be practiced. While the work of Carl Jung and others have underscored the archetypal power and universal significance of alchemical symbols, alchemy itself is much more than a psychological commentary on the nature of the human psyche. It is true that alchemy reflects the highest aspirations of the human soul. For our gold has always been symbolized and hastened perfection of man as well as matter. However, enemy, any alchemist worth his salt knows the lasting transformation only takes place when the work is accomplished on all levels of reality, the mental, the spiritual, and the physical. The great work is work to be done with the hands, the heart, and the soul, and not just understood with the mind. A medieval alchemist brought back to our era would be highly amused at the endless discussions among modern theorists as to the nature and depth of alchemy or its sudden blossoming in the offices of psychiatrists and New Age counselors. Has no one ever tried it? He would ask incredulously. What good is such an understanding without its practical application in the world? Now this is my favorite part. This is why I always read it right here. No alchemist in history ever thought the secret art was solely a mental discipline. The work of transformation takes place in the real world, yet alchemy is not chemistry. Chemistry is a superficial science that deals only with the external forms in which the elements manifest. A chemist seeks to rearrange molecules to exhibit different properties of the same dead material. An alchemist, however, seeks to create an entirely new substance by exposing its essences, bringing them alive, and causing them to grow. When an alchemist performs a laboratory experiment, it is the culmination of careful planning to find the right timing and personal purification to create the sacred space in which the transformation can take place. The alchemist becomes an ingredient in his own experiment, and his intention and passion contribute to the outcome. He suffers as the essences are teased and tortured from the substance, and he is elated when the hidden spark of truth brings the dead matter back to life on a new level of being. Now, admittedly, this is a strange way of looking at laboratory work in a materialistic, industrialized world, and there are many prejudices the modern mind must overcome to accept the possibility that alchemy is real. Yet perhaps after reading this book with a free heart and open mind, you might find an ancient voice speaking to you through the drone of appliances, engines, and commercial broadcasts that make up our environment. The voice will whisper, "But have you tried it?" Oh, and every time I read that, I get chills. But what he's talking about back there, about planning to find the right timing and personal purification, is you making an elixir is not the end of the alchemical process. You taking the elixir and joining with that is the final step. You're not transmuting just these substances, you're transmuting yourself. You're trying to make yourself as pure as possible, just like the things that you're making. And this really changed my life a lot. I still drink some things that I shouldn't drink. No high fructose corn syrup, no aspartame, and I stay away from GMOs. But I'll have my caffeine once in a while. I try not to drink carbonated anything, but I'm trying to purify my body just as much as the alchemical tinctures that I make. So when I take them, I'm trying to be just as pure as they are. And that's the whole sacred space and becoming part of your experiment. It's a really neat way to look at it. Yeah, I love the way he wrote this. So chapter 10 is the introduction to mineral and metalworks. As we lead into consideration of the work on minerals and metals, we must strongly caution you to know the theory first before attempting the praxis. The work with plants prepares us for the work with minerals, but plants are much more forgiving of mistakes and accidents. Without this developed skill and sense of precaution based on experience, certain types of mineral work are quite deadly. That's the first plane I've heard. In the work with minerals and metals, we are We are dealing with materials in the crystalline state. They are the most dense forms of the One. The One, you could say it's, if you like, God, or the Creator, or the Celestial Fire, the Celestial Nighter. There's 1,000 names for this, but it's the one true One, the first thing that creates everything, where we all come from, where everything comes from. So when they say the One, that's what they're talking about. The life force locked inside the crystal matrix is very pure and very powerful. We have only to look at our current technology to see the awesome power of crystalline materials, from the silicon chip to nuclear power. Now, nuclear power, however it's done, that's alchemy. That's the newest wave of alchemy. These, like the Hadron Collider and all that stuff, that's alchemy. They are making new things. If you go look at a periodic table, you can see there are many synthetic elements now. And they were all created through alchemy. It's really neat how alchemy has shaped this place. And nature is the greatest alchemist of all. It is a symphony unfolding around us every second. And there could be things out there right now in nature that have not been discovered, elements that haven't even been created by nature yet. It may take a certain amount of time and pressure and heat and this and that and these certain other things to take place first, to where you can't say that everything's been found and discovered, because nature could be creating new things right around us as I'm speaking right now. Herbal elixirs are powerful tools. You could spend a lifetime exploring their possibilities, but the most powerful alchemical medicines have always been sought for in the mineral world. The basics of mineral alchemy are the same as outlined in the herbal work: separation and purification of the three essentials, followed by their reunion and revivification. The methods are similar, but tend to be longer, more complex, and at higher temperatures. As with the herbal work, the processes used in the mineral realm work upon us in subtle ways. Because of the increased complexity of the work, you form a stronger link with your subject. I talked to my plant. I grew all the plants that I made my alchemical tinctures out of myself. I didn't go buy anything from the store or anything like that. And while they were growing, I was talking to them and asking them, the first set of tinctures I made were in vain. I wanted to try to grow my hair back, and I actually did a little bit. That's what got me so into alchemy. But I was asking them, hey, we're going to be united one day, and I'm going to consume you, and you can stay with me and be part of me, and we can do amazing things together. And I was wondering if you would, put some of your effort and energy. Hey, Karen B., how we doing this morning? It's great to have you here. But yeah, I was asking my plants to join me in this journey, of life, and together we can make each other better. Yeah, I had fun in the chat. It's so nice having the internet again. I've missed so many of you hanging out and just chatting, and I don't know if I'm going to get to be able to watch Glowbusters Sunday, which stinks. I'm going to try. I found a way to get 3G out here at least, and actually they've been allowing me to watch videos on 3G, and I had to turn off the LTE on my phone, and I'm able to pick up internet. But as soon as I turn it on, it just goes away. So I can pick up 3G, so I should be, hopefully, I'll be in chat Sunday and all that good stuff. I had a lot of fun last night over at Zulu Ones. It's been a while. You form a stronger link with your subject. Like I said, you have to communicate with your tinctures. Let them know what you're going to be doing. Hey, I'm going to, and you feel bad when I had to clip the plants. I got sharpened my tool so it didn't hurt them as much, and I didn't want to cut them when I had to. But I let them know that, hey, we're gonna fix this. I know this is gonna hurt you right now, but we're going to make it better. And in turn, you're going to help make me better. And together we will be something more. And when you start living your life like this and knowing that everything has a consciousness, not just the animals or the plants, but everything, and how far that consciousness goes, I don't know. Can I talk to a mountain? Not just the rocks that make up the mountain, but the whole mountain. Can we speak to them? Can we speak to, not just the trees, but speak to the forest? It's really changed my life. And then even going smaller, can I speak to the cells in my body that are doing all this amazing stuff to make it work? Can I communicate with them and ask them to do certain things and tell them they're doing a great job and that I'm proud of them and I love them? Once you start trying these things start happening. Life becomes more intimate. You don't have to have another person to have these feelings. You have these feelings with everything, with yourself. You start loving yourself in a new way. And alchemy is magical. It really is. Many operators have experienced the presence of sacred space or a field of force during some of the intense procedures of mineral works. I'll be heading, hopefully, I don't know if it'll be this summer, but definitely when it starts warming up. I know Sedona is at a higher elevation, but people talk about these energy fields out in Sedona on these rocks where you could stand in one spot and take a few steps over here and you can feel the energy. You can just feel, it's almost as like they're trying to communicate with you. And I'm going to go and sit there and I'm going to meditate on one of those spots for as long as I can and see if I can hear what they're trying to say. As one of the old masters put it, there are many paths that lead to the one effect. Likewise, we find a number of processes described for mineral works. We find a number of processes described for mineral works in general, as well as accomplishing the great work of confecting the Philosopher's Stone. These processes are often broken down into two general modes, the so-called dry way and the wet way. Some masters say there is no true dry way, as the liquid state is essential for the transference of celestial and vital forces in the matter. The basic difference in the two methods of operation can be described as follows. Via humida, or the wet way, provokes separation of the three essentials by a process of fermentation and exaltation, or their extraction with a menstruum derived from a fermentation process and determined to the particular kingdom of the matter. Via seca, or the dry way, provokes separation of the essentials by process of calcination, fusion, sublimation, amalgamation, and dry distillation of prepared materials. The transfer of subtle principles from medium to medium occurs during fusion. We begin our investigation into mineral works with the practical method used in via humida, or the wet way, to extract and purify the essentials drawn from the mineral realm. Now that's the end of chapter 10. We're going to do a chapter 11 here. And it is not a very long one either. Let me see. And then chapter 12 is not that long. You know what? I might even throw chapter 12 in there. I'm going to. And this will talk about the wet way, chapter 11, via humida. It starts off explaining menstrums. Oh, awesome. You're going to love it, Richard. It's, like I said, you'll read it, and I suggest reading it slowly. Read a chapter. Actually, read a few chapters, maybe 4, and then go back and read those 4 chapters over again. And then maybe read 5, a few more, and read those and then start all over again. Because you're going to learn things later on the book that are going to change the way you look at things earlier in the book. I'm on my 5th or 6th time reading through it. And some parts I've read, I don't know how many times. But I always learn something. And I'm going to keep on rereading it. And it's one of those books that just grabbed my attention, and it speaks to my soul. I love it. So chapter 11 starts off Via Humida, the wet way. Menstrums. In the wet work, the best solvent for separating the essentials is the mercury of the particular kingdom. Now again, mercury is the spirit of the kingdom. The way they have it is you have the mercury, the sulfur, and the salt. Now, the sulfur is your soul. That is the oil which makes up the beings of this place. The mercury, now it changes from, kingdom to kingdom. Like in the plant kingdom, the mercury would be the alcohol of the plant. Every plant has alcohol in it. And the mercury is what connects the soul or the sulfur to the body or the salt of the beings. The way I like to look at it, I used to be big into video games, and I think your soul is sitting somewhere, okay? And it is connected to this place and to our bodies. And I think this is why they can't find the soul, because it's here, but it's not in this realm. There are 4 realms that lay on this plane, and our souls reside in a different realm. But we're connected through our mercury, through like the plant has the alcohol. It's where the word spirit comes from. You go to the liquor store and they say, oh, beer, wine, and spirits. Well, the spirit is the purest part of that plant and purified to be that mercury of the plant. In the works on plants, we use the vegetable mercury to extract or separate our 3 essentials. We can proceed in the same way with the mineral and metal works by using the correct type of solvent for the work at hand. So the mercury is what helps break down everything and allows you to separate them to become purified. The alchemists called these various solvents their menstrums or menstrua. These were not solvents as the modern term is generally understood. Many of them required months of preparation. In fact, they were often prepared by following the moon's phases. There's a chapter in here on astronomy, or astrology, about how the stars and planets above are slowly raining down these subtle essences, these subtle vibrations that change everything as they pass over. And if you do things at the right time, you can collect these into your tinctures and elixirs that you're making and make them more powerful. This link with the moon partly explains the use of the term menstrum. They were, in addition, held to be filled with the vital life force and could transfer the universal fire to the subject of the operator, even to revivify materials. Just as menstruum nurtures and forms the fetus, so the alchemist menstrua processes a nutritive power to bring forth the chemical child or living medicine. I love that. In some texts, a special menstruum may be referred to as a secret fire, which provokes the dissolution or separation of the subject without the need of external fire. Water, alcohol, vinegar, acetone, and ether are the most commonly used solvents in laboratory alchemy. Recipes for tinctures. It's going to show you how to make spagyric elixirs in this, but a good recipe book for tinctures I found would be the Herbal Alchemist cookbook. It is a grimoire, which tells you which oils you can mix to do certain things. Now this gets more into, a lot more into the spiritual, what some people would call witchcraft. I have that book as well. I don't know, I think I brought it. I'm not sure. I'm one of those nuts that has to carry a lot of books around with me. But yeah, the Herbal Alchemist cookbook. I forget her name, but it'll say a grimoire of alchemical tinctures and elixirs. It's a really neat book too, but that's a good one. The Herbal Alchemist cookbook. Now, water, alcohol, vinegar, acetone, and ether are the most commonly used solvents in laboratory alchemy. They form the starting materials of a wide range of powerful menstruums, useful in both vegetable and mineral works. Wine and vinegar provide all solvent power we need for vegetable works. The wine and vinegar, the spirit, being the volatile and the fixed spirits of that kingdom. Their combination forms the first menstruum we will be looking at, with a group of useful solvents for mineral works. Vegetable radical menstruum. The vegetable radical menstruum is essentially a form of liquid vegetable stone, or circulatum, which properly belongs with vegetable works, but it can be made effective to act upon minerals as well. The preparation is accomplished by the marriage of the volatile and the fixed vegetable spirits. Ideally, we would begin with a large quantity of red wine. Half of the volume is set aside to sour and become vinegar. That is the fixed spirit. The other half is distilled to obtain the alcohol, the volatile spirit. All of the residues that remain, or the feces, are collected together in order to extract the salt, or the matrix, the body. The wine is rectified and by distillation 6 or 7 times to obtain a strong alcohol in the usual way. The vinegar is concentrated first by freezing and later by distillation. For this, you can half fill a plastic bottle with vinegar and freeze it. Take it out of the freezer and overturn it into a glass jar. After 30 minutes or so, the concentrated vinegar will have thawed and dripped into the jar, leaving a plug of ice in the plastic bottle. Discard the ice, then refreeze the vinegar and repeat this thawing, freezing cycle yet a third time. Now distill the concentrated vinegar, but discard the first quarter to third, as it is mostly water. Distill to near dryness and collect the distillate. This is your fixed spirit. Combine all of the residual solids from both the wine and the vinegar processing and calcine them. Now in the book it explains what all these terms are. You don't have to know what they are before you start. You don't have to be a chemist. This book is going to explain to you everything that it's talking about now. Then leach out the salts and crystallize several times. Allow the salts to deliquesce for some time between crystallizations. Deliquesce is you leave it out in the morning throughout the night and let it collect the dew, that niter, that wonderful magical essence that collects in the dew. As the work with the salts progresses, You can blend together equal volumes of alcohol and vinegar in a roomy glass vessel, large. Seal it and allow it to circulate for a full lunar cycle. At the end of the month, add the dry and powdered salts to the cooled liquid slowly. Reseal the container and allow this to circulate for another lunar cycle. At the end of this second cycle, carefully distill the whole mixture to dryness. Return the distillate to the salts that remained behind, then seal and circulate for another cycle. Repeat the cycle 7 to 12 times, and on the final distillation, the menstruum will be ready. So it's saying to take at least a year to do this. Now, that doesn't mean that that's what you have to do. That's one of my favorite parts about alchemy is you decide how long these things need to be done. When I made my 7 basics, which it tells you how to do in this book, it said to, you can do it for a month. And something inside me said to do it for 3. So I did it a lot longer. And I don't know, there is no fixed way of doing alchemy. Alchemy is what you feel, how you feel you should do it. That's what makes alchemy so different than chemistry, is that when you're talking to the plants, they're going to communicate. When you're talking with your elixirs and your tinctures, they're going to communicate back. And if you're open to it, you'll hear it. And then you have to take the next step and actually apply what you've heard. And it's an amazing thing. The menstruum should completely distill and leave no residue. This liquid contains ethyl acetate married to the volatile plant salts and will extract the essentials from plants easily. It can be used for extracting many minerals and metal subjects such as iron and copper. Now, we're going to cover the Kirk ring menstruum. The next preparation we'll examine is the so-called Kirk ring menstruum, or philosophical alcohol. This preparation is attributed to the Dutch physician Dr. Theodore Kirkring, who mentions it in his commentary to Basil Valentine's Triumphal Chariot of Antimony. This is an example of a vegetable spirit being magnetized or determined to activity in the mineral realm by contact with prepared salts. In this menstruum, we make use of the salt ammonium chloride, or NH4Cl, or sal ammoniac, the old alchemical term. All of the volatile ammonium salts are valuable in alchemy, and not just minerals, but plants and animals contain sal ammoniac. These salts sublime easily, and if not captured, will vapor away unseen. The origin of sal ammoniac in alchemical history is hard to place. It was obtained from animal wastes for centuries, and also from the horns of horned animals, which earned its name hartshorn, or spirit of hartshorn. There is some evidence to suggest that the priest at the temple of Amun in ancient Egypt produced it by sublimating soot. The product contained volatile ammonia salts and was called the salt of Amun, then later sal ammoniac. Preparation of the menstruum begins with the sublimation of sal ammoniac. A commercial product is all right for this preparation. So they're saying you can just go out and buy it, but they do teach you how to make it. This is easily done using Corningware casseroles over electric or gas heat, as mentioned earlier when we discussed sublimation. After the first sublimation, the sublimed crystals will take on a pale yellow color. Collect them and sublime again. The sublimate will appear more yellow-orange and even reddish in areas. Collect and sublime a third time. After this third sublimation, the crystals will appear very yellow-orange to red-yellow and are ready for use. Store them in a glass container sealed from moisture. Next, we need a very strong alcohol, 95% at the minimum, and preferably from red wine. That's not easy to do. That's a lot of work. When we have prepared these two ingredients, they are combined at the new moon in the proportion of 4 parts sal ammoniac to 10 parts alcohol. Seal them in a glass vessel and let digest about 40 degrees Celsius for a month at least. I believe that's 40 degrees. That's like 116 degrees Fahrenheit. I think, don't hold me to that. Somewhere around there. Like they said, the heats are much higher when dealing with the mineral world. After digestion, the whole matter is gently distilled to near dryness. Collect the distillate and distill it again 2 more times. The final distillate will be the Kirk Mentum. Seal it tightly in a glass vessel for use. Collect together all the residues from the distillations and save them as well. They can be used to change more alcohol several times. Or charge more alcohol, excuse me. Now we're going to talk about alkahest. Alkahest is another term from Paracelsus and is used to denote not only a solvent, which can extract the sulfur and mercury of living metals, but also one that can specifically extract the sulfur from dead or smelted metals and infuse them with its own vitality to reanimate them. Alkahest was thought of as a universal solvent. Each of the alkahests themselves possess remarkable healing powers. There are a number of ways to prepare an alkahest. We will examine 2 of them. For the alkahest of tartar, we begin with crude tartar as it comes from the wine barrel, also called winestone. Crush the tartar into 1/8 to 1/4 inch granules and place them in a distillation vessel. Begin distillation with a gentle heat at first, then gradually increase. First water, called the phlegm, will come over to the receiver, then slow or stop altogether. Increase the heat and change to a new receiver with good cooling from an ice bath. Soon the entire apparatus will fill with a thick white vapor, and clear yellowish liquid will begin to form in the receiver, followed by drops of black foul-smelling oil. The distillate is now gently distilled using a water bath. The alkahest of tartar will come over as a clear liquid ready for use. There will also remain a nasty smelling black oil, which is the crude sulfur of tartar. Remember, the oil is the soul, the sulfur. This oil is reputed to have beneficial effects on diseases involving the buildup of obstructing plaques, but it must be refined by distillation before being used. The alkahest is effective for extraction of most of the metals, even gold and silver, which are hard to open because of their perfect concoction of the elements. This alkahest will also extract sulfur from the smelted or refined metals. In this case, the alkahest lends its alchemical life to revivify the tincture and cannot be recovered for further use. If a living mineral is extracted, the alkahest may be recovered by gentle distillation and reused. In fact, it is said to become stronger with frequent use. The oily residue remains behind in this distillation, is dissolved into rectified wine spirits and allowed to stand. Decant the clear liquid tincture for use. Now this part is really interesting, folks. Urine, or niter alkahest. And that's what it says. That's right, urine. Now this is in quotation marks. Held in contempt by most people, but esteemed by the wise. End quotations. There are many secrets hidden in urine. From urine, we can easily obtain volatile ammonium salts in a philosophical state, that is, alive. Collecting the urine requires some preparation since we will only want to use the finest. A cleansing diet and restricted salt intake is undertaken for several days at least, then only water or wine during the period of collection. Like I said, when you're doing these alchemical processes, you want to try to make yourself as pure and This is one of the reasons right here. Excuse me, I'm going to have to sneeze. I can feel it coming on. It's okay, Bubba. It's okay. Yeah. You're so handsome. You're so handsome. Yeah. I know. It's going to be a wet, rainy day. We're going to be hanging out in the tent all day, okay? Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. Hank gave me a look and a wink, so he said, Dad, I want to go outside and play. I don't want to stay in here all day. Poor guy. Close the urine in a glass vessel and let it purify for a month or more in a warm place. The odors involved with this process certainly class it as an outdoor activity. Filter the putrefied urine into a distillation train and slowly distill to dryness. Return the distillate to the solids that remain, the caput mortem, and again digest for a month. Distill and repeat the cohobation of distillate on the solids a third time. On the final distillation, collect the clear distillate as the spirit of urine, or alkahest of urine. As this final distillation ends, you can gently increase the heat and you will see a white sublimate form in the upper glass. Collect this sublimate and save it aside for use. It is the volatile salt of urine, also called Van Helmondt's salt, alkahest. The alkahest J.B. Van Helmont, a later student of the works by Paracelsus, became well known for his miracle cures using this salt. Some of this salt comes over during the distillations and is contained in alkahest. This alkahest is similar to the Kirk ring menstruum, but far superior in that it is derived from live sal ammoniac, and thus can revivify a subject. That's why it's so revered. The Kirk ring menstruum cannot because we used commercial sal ammoniac. This spirit, this is in quotations. This spirit, by rectification, may be made so pure and subtle that it will burn as fire and dissolve gold and precious stones. End quote. That's by J. French, The Art of Distillation. So in your urine, you have the power to distill it and make it so pure that it can melt metals and stones. And that just blew my mind when I read it. It made me think of, all the people talking about drinking urine and this and that. Not that I do it or probably would ever try it. I mean, that's a leap. That is. I know there's people out there that do it, but I've never had the calling to try it. So let's see. I don't know. Maybe in time. I'll never say never to anything. Never say never. That's always been a funny line to me. Chapter 12. Concerning the minerals. Before we continue our examination of wetways, let us digress and talk about our subject matter, the products of the mineral realm themselves. Just as we had to gather and prepare our herbs for use, so it is with the minerals. Depending on how we prepare our subject and the choice of menstruum, excuse me. Sorry about that. I am a spitter. I've said this before. Whenever my body has me, is coughing something up, it's telling me that it does not want it inside of it. So I listen and I get rid of that. It's something I used to spit just because, but now I can't even think about coughing something up and then swallowing it back down. It irks me. Depending on how we prepare our subjects and their choice of menstruum, there are many useful materials derived from minerals and metals. Preparing ores. In the alchemical view, mineral and metal ores collected fresh from the earth, are in their natural living form and preferred to any commercial chemical substitute. Today, people do not usually consider rocks and minerals to be alive, but to the alchemist, the mineral realm is just as full of life as the other two kingdoms of nature. Minerals are alive. They grow, evolve, produce seed, and die just like plants and animals, but they do this at an imperceptibly slow rate. That's why I want to talk to mountains and rocks, because they've been here a lot longer than us. And I bet they have some great stories to tell. I mean, talking to a big old oak tree that's, 200 years, 300 years old is one thing. But imagine being able to talk to a mountain that's thousands of years old. Real quick, whenever I go a place now, whenever I come to a new area, and I'm going to be camping, the first thing I do is ask for forgiveness for my trespasses on everything, the plants, the animals, the minerals. I apologize if I or my companion hurt you in any way. It is not meant to be. And I ask them to not try to hurt us purposefully in any way. And we forgive you for any accidental trespasses upon us. And I've had a very safe, great trip so far. Almost as if they're answering me, by, I don't know. I've been in a lot of places where there's a lot of big wild animals, or even small dangerous ones. I saw my first black widow when I was up there in New Mexico just about a week ago. And I actually picked up a branch that it was on. And then I saw it in there and I set the branch, I just saw the spider, so I set the branch back down. I didn't want to disrupt it or hurt it or anything. And under closer examination, it was a black widow spider. I was the first one I've ever seen, and said sorry for disturbing you and all that kind of good stuff, and it didn't even move. But talk to the world around you. It's going to listen. Even though we may not understand when it speaks, I believe it understands when you speak. And speak these words out loud. When we speak, that's magical. There's a reason that the One gave us this ability, gave us a voice box. I believe it's our way of communicating with them, not just each other. It's our way of putting off these vibrations and these subtle influences on the world around us. And it really is a magical gift that most people take for granted. So your words are very important. And speaking to every being that you come across, is you have this capability. And even though they're not going to speak back to you to where you hear them, like we hear other humans when they speak, they will communicate back with you. You just have to open up your heart and your mind and your soul and your body and just open it up and allow them to communicate with you. It's magical, folks. Just try it. I've got all kinds of people talking to plants and stuff like that, and they say it's changed their lives. Okay, I'll read that last part again. Minerals are alive. They grow, evolve, produce seed, and die just like plants and animals, but they do this at an imperceptibly slow rate. And this is in quotations. The bodies of metals are domiciles for their spirits. When their terrestrial substance is by degrees made thin, extended, and purified, the life and fire hitherto lying dormant is excited and made to appear. For the life which dwells in the metals is laid hid, as it were, asleep, nor can it exert its power or show itself, unless the bodies be first dissolved and turned into their radical source. Being brought to this degree at length by abundance of their internal light and communicate their tinging properties to other imperfect bodies. That was the Golden Treatise of Hermes Trismegistus, quoted and footnoted in Margaret Atwood's Hermetic Philosophy and Alchemy. Now they say Hermes Trismegistus was the creator of the emerald tablets of Hermes. If you've never heard about them, check them out. They say that he didn't find emerald and chisel into them and polish it and this and that. They say that he grew the emeralds in an alchemical laboratory. And I had a lot of trouble grasping that concept until I thought about it. Alchemy is understanding nature, how it works and how it creates all this stuff, and just being able to speed up the process. So you can grow emeralds. You can grow gold. You can grow anything, folks. And you can do it out of just rainwater. If you go back and watch the one on Waterworks, everything's in the rain. And if you collect it just right, you can grow anything you want. The species of the mineral realm are just as varied as those of the vegetable and animal worlds. The minerals and metals appear to us in many different forms. Some of these forms are easier to find and to work with in order to provide the essentials of each planetary type. The oxides, carbonates, sulfides, and sulfates of the mineral metals are the most commonly preferred sources as minerals right out of the earth. The table below indicates some of the commonly available metal ores for each of the planets. I'll show you the little table here. I'll also read it. I know that's probably hard to read. But it has the planet and then the common source of the mineral. You have Saturn. Its common source is galena or cerussite. Jupiter, cassiterite. Mars, pyrite or magnetite. Sun, native gold, placer gold. Venus, malachite, azurite, native copper. Mercury is cinnabar. The moon, argentite or saragarite. Plan to use 5 to 10 pounds of raw mineral ore to begin with in general, but this is dependent on the quality of the mineral. Take the mineral ore you have selected to work on and separate by hand as much of the high-grade material as possible from any surrounding rock. Oops, sorry about that. Take the mineral ore you have selected to work on, the high-grade material as much of the high-grade material as possible from the surrounding rock. Fold the collected material into a piece of cloth or canvas to avoid flying debris as you strike it with a hammer. Clean out any impurities that may have been freed, then continue crushing and grinding to a fine powder. A 4-inch iron pipe cap-fitted with a 4 to 6-inch piece of pipe makes a nice mortar for pounding ores. Very hard stones are often heated quite hot, then thrown into cold water a few times to help in reducing them to powder. Most of the minerals have associated with them certain impurities which we want to remove. Foremost of these are the more volatile metals, which may include traces of arsenic, mercury, cadmium, selenium, zinc, and free sulfur. Slowly drive these off by roasting the powdered ore outside for a day or two at about 90 degrees Celsius. That's warm, folks. That's real warm. Stir the material around once in a while during the roast. After this, you can raise the temperature slowly to about 250 degrees Celsius for a day to remove the last traces of arsenic. It goes without saying that these are not things you want to be breathing, so have good ventilation. Can you imagine trying to practice alchemy back in the day and getting something to be heated for a whole day at 250 degrees Celsius? That is hard to fathom. That is some working on the bellows, hardcore. Many ores can be extracted with a menstruum when they are in the form of the oxide. Metal oxides are called calx of the particular metal. To prepare them, the powdered ore is slowly calcined at higher temperatures, ground, and calcined again. The sulfide ores are often treated this way by slowly calcining the sulfur out, which is replaced by oxygen to form the oxide. Carbonate minerals are easily calcined to the oxide. They are also soluble in acidic solutions and form the salt of that acid. This offers many possibilities for purification prior to extraction by one of the prepared menstruums. Using a strong vinegar to produce the acetate. Bubba, hey, you settle down. We're not going out there just yet. Let me finish this. I'm almost done. Okay, babe? Just let me finish and you can go say hi to the fellas. Okay? You can go say good morning and give them your hugs and kisses like I know you want to do. You're so sweet. Carbonate materials are easily calcined to the oxide. They are also soluble in acidic solutions to form the salt of that acid. This offers many possibilities for purification prior to extraction by one of the prepared menstruums. Using a strong vinegar to produce the acetate of the metal is often the preferred way, and this subject will be examined later. The extraction of the mineral takes place much as, you know what, folks, I'm just going to go let him out and say hi because he's going to be bothering me about it. I'm going to go say hi to the fellas. I'll take you with me. I'm going to have you in my pocket, though. All right, Richard. Take care, brother. I'm not... If you have to leave, that's cool, but I'm not leaving. I'm going to get back to reading here in a sec. I'm just going to go say good morning and let Hank say hi. He's a lover that likes to say good morning to his buddies. Howdy. Have a good night.
Oh, yeah.
Weather is perfect right now around here.
Yeah, anytime I sleep great in the van, especially the colder it gets. It really wasn't cold last night, but I sleep with the door open a lot. I'm waiting for a critter to jump in there with me and freak out. Falling asleep with the door open.
Yeah, I left it unzipped right now, but I'm always trying to keep that thing closed. I don't want to jump into a bed and have a rattlesnake in there or something like that. That'd freak me out real good. You want an apple?
No, man.
No?
Good,
You're good? All right.
But
Yeah, I'm one of those apple weirdos. I always offer people. That's my breakfast usually. Oh, yeah, they're saying raining on and off all day, pretty much.
crazy. It doesn't do this very often here. I enjoy it when it does, but
It's crazy. They said that it's rained everywhere I've gone.
it doesn't. Literally 90% of the year, it doesn't rain.
Wow.
5% of the year.
It must be following me around
Rain
then.
or wind. The weather here is pretty awesome. It's probably the best weather. If you like warm weather and dry air, it's probably the best weather in all of the
States.
But I mean, people ride bikes here 12 months out of the year.
That's awesome.
The last couple of years, it hasn't even got that cold. But sometimes it gets pretty cold. And when it's windy and rainy and cold,
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't snow very often. It's a little bit of snow.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I love the rain. Rain brings life.
You come back after this go, man, we'll have a charging hub, movie theater room / kitchen in the back.
That's what he was saying. Yeah, I'm definitely coming back through here for sure, man.
We'll be done with that next week.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. And this place is it's beautiful.
Wait till we get the upstairs done. Lowell's not even about it. He doesn't want to talk about it, but we're going to do it. Upstairs.
I have a nuclear biological chem suit.
Will be a hostel up there.
I'll be in the whole thing.
Looking like an astronaut walking around out there.
I will not
I'm
go
sure
in there
it's pretty intense.
without just nothing there. No going there.
I mean, you got to imagine that thing's been closed for so long, and all the things that have been living up there and doing whatever up there, and just no human activity.
It's an attic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Party's in the attic, literally.
You want to play?
This weather's got my back.
Oh, back problems? Yeah.
Yeah, I got in an accident.
Oh, yeah, I heard you talking
City.
about that yesterday.
City, yeah. It was jacked.
Are you getting excited? Are you getting excited with your buddies? Yeah. I know, you love saying good morning, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, let's go finish your breakfast. Dad wants to get his breakfast in, too. You want an apple, man? You're an apple person?
Sure.
Yeah, awesome. I'll go grab you one. What are you saying, Bubba? We get to share an apple. We get to share an apple. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy when people accept my offers like that. It means a lot. And let me make sure I get him a good one. Yeah, there we go. I'll be right back in a sec, folks.
I've got some Zeeks right now. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome,
I'll
man.
throw some
If you
Zeeks
order
on.
some more, give me a selection of what I can choose from, and I want to order a bag from you. Whenever you place the next order.
Just go to their website and tell me what you want.
Okay,
What are you doing, Bubba?
I'll do that.
What are you doing, Bubba?
Probably have something to do too.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. My pleasure. Come on, Bubba. Let's go finish your breakfast. Oh, these people around here are awesome, folks. That was the owner that just accepted an apple from me. Very cool guy. I'm definitely coming back here to hang out with him. I mean, you can't beat all this for $3 a night. And they're going to have all kinds of rec rooms and stuff like that here. And sorry about that, guys. I just wanted to say good morning to him and all that good stuff. Whew. Okay, back to it. The extraction of the mineral takes place much as in the vegetable work by covering the subject with menstruum, sealing and digesting in a warm place, up to about 90 degrees. After some time of digestion, and this can take months, the menstruum will take on a color or tincture. Filter this tincture off and gently distill the majority of the menstruum off. Save this for future extractions. Then allow the residue to evaporate gently down to an oily or resinous consistency. Collect the residue and extract it into a small volume of strong alcohol. Let the alcohol extract stand for a week or two, then decant off the clear tinted liquid for use. Some operators like to take this as a step further by evaporating the alcohol extract and dissolving the residue into a small amount of ether. The ether extract is allowed to stand, decanted and evaporated. The final residue is then extracted again with alcohol and gently distilled. The distillate is collected for use and contains the most volatile essence of the metal. This additional step helps to eliminate any metallic salts that may have carried through the extraction and so provide us with a more purified sulfur of the metal. Now you have to remember, when dealing with metals, folks, it is very dangerous. You have to know what you're doing and you have to be very skilled at it. You can't just know the theory, but you have to have practiced this herbally and you want it's like playing an instrument. You can't start like this is playing solo guitar. You know, herbal alchemy is rhythm guitar. You learn about it and this and that. But to play solo guitar and to all the neat stuff that some of those guys can do, you have to learn the other stuff first and build up to that. That's the same thing with working with metals and alchemy. It's very dangerous work. So if you're ever going to try something like that, make sure you know what you're doing. Many have died. Isaac Newton, they say, who was more an alchemist than a mathematician, died trying to pull out the oil of mercury and use it. It's a very dangerous practice, working in the mineral realm, practicing alchemy. Metallic oils. This is pretty neat. The sulfur of the metals, now this is in quotations, the sulfur of the metals is an oiliness extracted from the metals themselves, endowed with very many virtues for the health of man. And that's by Paracelsus, he's pretty much the godfather of chemistry. If we carefully follow the instructions of the sages for preparing various oils and elixirs from the metals, we can indeed obtain the products they describe, as this increases our confidence in their description of using the preparations. The medicinal use of oils derived from the mineral world has a long history, with some reports bordering on the miraculous. However, as we mentioned earlier, the vegetable world is much more forgiving of mistakes than the mineral realm. If one does not fully understand the theory and practice of metalworks, and assume tincture of iron or copper may just be a solution of toxic metal salts and not true alchemical sulfur of the metal. Many operators consider the metal as a catalyst which acts upon the solvent to change it in characteristic ways. The actual metal is not present in the final product. Still, the metallic works provide valuable lessons in the operations of nature and tangible results which demonstrate the operator's progress. There are many different oils to be obtained from the metals, depending on the subject and method of extraction. Please let me know if that rain is drowning me out at all. For curiosity's sake, we mentioned some reported effects of using metal oil medicinally and at the psychological level as summarized below. These are a selection of uses extracted from older texts, as well as reports from modern workers, and thus not to be taken as medical advice. Excuse me. Oil of antimony. Although antimony is not one of the 7 ancient metals, its use in alchemy has a long history, and we will be examining this in a greater detail later on. Many alchemists have claimed it to be the best blood purifier available. The volatilized oil of antimony is said to help restore youth. Depending on the method of preparation, the oil of antimony rids the body of toxins by purgation, catharsis, or through sweating. There are many claims through the centuries of antimony oil curing cancer and leprosy. The oil of antimony is held to be nearly a universal medicine. It has a characteristic penetrating fire that will work with any other planetary medicine and deliver it powerfully to its target. Hence, it is often called the triumphal chariot. The oil of gold. Oil of gold is considered to be a medicine of the highest order. It strengthens circulation as a heart tonic. It is generally strengthening to all systems and is also a good blood purifier and regenerative. It is a true universal medicine, often referred to as potable gold, and highly prized from ancient times. Could that be the reason why they mark gold up as being so expensive? Because they know its alchemical properties and its medicinal uses as being one of the best medicines for purifying and things like that. I don't know. Oil of gold has been used successfully for treatment of rheumatism, arthritis, cancer, syphilis, uremia, and multiple sclerosis. Mentally, this is good for a week and will strengthens. Mentally, this is good for a weak will and strengthens ambition, courage, vitality, and creativity. The smallest amount of the oil of gold will strengthen any other herbal mineral elixir. Excuse me, I have to blow my nose. Sorry. A little chill to the air with this rain coming. That's what he said would happen. The oil of silver. Oil of silver is effective for disorders of the brain, cerebellum, nervous system, memory, and emotions. It is used in cases of epilepsy, depression, mania, and emotional trauma. It affects the subconscious mind in dreams. It is useful in understanding one's hidden past. It helps to remove fears and mental blockages. It enhances one's psychic sensitivity and powers of imagination. The oil of mercury. Oil of mercury powerfully affects the nervous system, respiratory system, and liver. It is used for treating skin problems, soothing the nerves, asthma, and related breathing problems. It promotes sensory awareness and quickens perceptions. It is also useful for speech problems and other troubles with communication skills. Oil of copper is useful for treating liver, thyroid, and reproductive organ diseases. It stabilizes blood pressure and purifies the body of blood-borne infections. It has been used in cases of leukemia and cancer. It enhances psychic sensitivity and attraction to the opposite sex. The oil of iron. The oil of iron is another powerful for the whole body. It strengthens and purifies the blood, rapidly heals wounds, cuts, and abrasions. It is used to treat the gallbladder, pancreas, bleeding ulcers, and ulcers in general. It is also said to enhance one's natural instincts. It provides an additional boost of energy, especially when mixed with sun herbs. In fact, it is said to activate the potentials of most other herbs. The oil of tin. Oil of tin is useful for problems affecting the liver and lungs. It balances the way in which the body stores and uses sugars. It is held to have sudorific, vermifuge, and antispasmodic properties. On the mental side, it affects the growth and wealth attitudes and brings lightheartedness to one's outlook. And the oil of lead. Oil of lead is especially effective for diseases affecting the bones, atrophy of the body, muscular atrophy, as well as problems with the spleen. It has been used for treating acute lead toxicity, anemia, and neuropathy. It is said to increase steadiness, patience, and tolerance. And that's the end of chapter 12. Within the next week, I'll jump into chapter 13, which is Via Humida, part 2, more on the wet works. In chapter 14, Via Sicca, the dry works. And it really starts getting really interesting. Not to say that the last stuff wasn't interesting, but and then it starts teaching you about how to make some of these different tinctures. The oil of all these. Oil of antimony, the star regular, glass of antimony, vinegar of antimony. Maybe it just jumps into antimony. the seed of metals, how to extract the seed out of metals, chapter 16. And then the last chapter, chapter 17, the Philosopher's Stone. Really neat book. Every time I read it, I learn something new. Like I said, it's a wonderful read. Very informative. And when you actually apply these things and try to practice them, it's life-changing to realize what they've known for so long. And if you go back and listen to some of the earlier chapters that I read, the introductions and stuff like that, alchemy was hidden for the longest time and was only passed down to certain priests, actually, like in Egyptian times. These were the high priests, not just your regular average day, everyday priests, but the highest of the high were taught alchemy. And it was a hidden knowledge. They don't even know where it comes from. But it's something really neat to look into, to say the least. So that's about it, folks. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for joining me. I had a lot of fun sharing those chapters with you. Those are the first time that I've done those live. I did most of the other book live before, but the recording was kind of shoddy, so I did it all over again with some better equipment. And yeah, it's an amazing thing, the practice of alchemy. Thanks, Weed Man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'll try to do another one here within the week. We'll do a couple more chapters. And then by the end of the month, by the beginning of October, or November, I mean, hopefully we'll have it done completely. Oh, my pleasure, Martin. That's why I do it. I don't care if there's just one person sitting here. If one person is willing to listen to me ramble on about this stuff and finds it interesting, then I'm more than willing to share it with you. Because that one person, you can change the world by what I just shared with you, maybe, you know? And it makes it all worth it just to know that sharing knowledge with others who embrace it, that's what this is all about. I think that's what a lot of this life is about. What we're doing here. Just sharing things with each other and learning from each other. It's a magical process. Then I'm going to start reading some other books. More, I don't want to say prepper books, but I have books on how to find and purify water. Books on how to make your own root cellar. Things like that. Books on all types of medicine, different types, using crystals to heal. I've got a book, it's about yay big and like that thick with all small tiny letters, and it's all about Eastern medicine and how things were done over there. And I'm going to start digging into that one a lot too. I plan on as long as I have a good internet connection, I plan on starting to do a lot more. I have time. All I've been sitting around making hats. The owner of the place is going to buy 4 hats off me to help me on my journey that he can sell here at his shop, which I thought was very cool. He wants one for himself, and then he said if they sell good real quick, he'll give me a call and we can set something up to where I can make some for him and send them to him, and he'll just keep ordering them off me as long as he keeps selling them. And that's how I want to. It's kind of how I want to get by, doing things like this. Another person that I'm going to be traveling with said that they'll pay me for guitar lessons. I went with him to help him pick out his first guitar, and taught him a couple things, and he said, he enjoys not just learning from me, but he enjoys my company. And Hank, he has a dog as well, and we're going to kind of caravan around and organite. No, I haven't, Martin. Organite. I have not. I will have to. Let me write it down right now so I don't forget. Look into Organite. Yeah, like I said, I have time. So most likely when I jump off here, I'm going to put on some kind of educational video. At night, I'll watch movies and stuff like that. But during the day, I try to keep, if I'm not all wrapped up into the debates and stuff like that, I try to learn stuff. So Organite, thank you for sharing that with me. I will look into that today. Organite. Yeah, thank you, Martin. That's what this is all about, sharing information, sharing ideas, helping each other learn. Oh, sorry about that. I started freaking out. I was looking for my camera. I just put the pen back in my bag and my camera wasn't in there. And I'm using it to prop up my phone. Oh, silly me. But Organite, I'll check that out, Martin, for sure. Thank you for sharing that. And Weedman, thanks for being here this whole time. It's you type of people that keep me doing this. Like I said, if one person shows interest, I'll keep doing this. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I enjoy sharing knowledge with people that are interested in what I have to say. So that's it. I'll see y'all next time, hopefully. Y'all have a great day. This is Good Times for All, signing out. As always, thanks for watching. Oh, hold on. People are charging their pieces up with UV lamps and okay. I think I have heard a little bit about that. Yeah, I'm gonna do some more. I'll do some research today and look for some information on it so I can share that with people too. Great topic. Thank you, Martin. So yeah, Good Times for All here, signing out. As always, thanks for watching.